So this is the detail that really convinced me that Hakari was going to win. Let's examine the past 3 chapters. In chapter 186, Hakari was... Hi, there are just a couple of things that I want to say in the beginning of this video, and if you're just interested in the video itself, here is the timestamp for you to skip to, and I'll see you there. But for those of you that stayed, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you everybody who has been watching my videos. It's actually insane how many of you are just watching, first of all, watching my videos, and second of all, commenting really awesome, insightful comments about Jujutsu Kaisen, and I love reading all of them. I apologize if I don't get to respond to your comments, but I do read them. Know that I read all of your comments. Second thing, I asked at the end of my last video if people wanted a Discord, and I only got one person saying they wanted one, but a bunch of people joined my old Discord that's in the description. Don't join that one. Because of this, I think I'm just gonna make a Discord, and it'll take a few weeks to actually be ready, but I'm just gonna make one. Okay, I hope you enjoy this video. This chapter was basically 4 minutes and 11 seconds of Kashimo and Hakari beating each other up, but getting nowhere, honestly. Then the last 8 seconds. The last 8 seconds is the most important. I honestly would have hated myself if I had missed the details that I saw on my 3rd, 4th, or 5th reading. I'm really glad that I shifted my mindset to reading this chapter in the fight super analytically, because what I found was really interesting. But before we talk about that, I want to lay out a nice sturdy foundation for that evidence to go on top of. I'm sure that Higuruma would approve of my methods. So let's knock this setup out of the way so that we can get to the good stuff. This chapter starts off with some lyrics. The last line of the song really stood out to me because it said, "Let's get off at the next stop. Just me alone." I feel as if that is telling us that this fight is going to end next chapter and there will be a winner who comes out on top. But this fight has been really weird, and it's led me to criticize Gege for pretty much the first time since I've been reading Jujutsu Kaisen. What is trust if not employed in the moments when doubt is in play? So I'm just going to trust Akutami-sensei that he has something for us and that it's going to be good. It feels as if Hakari is chasing a bigger and bigger pot, a bigger and bigger payout. But why? Where? How? Because the goal here is to beat Kashimo, right? To get their 100 points, to make a new rule. Why not just end it? They're not going to beat each other simply by throwing punches. We see that they've clearly gone through many rounds of throwing punches at each other, and neither of them are dead yet. And what's the deal with Kashimo? Honestly, because Kashimo was set up to be this fantastic villain who's super strong, who needs to be contended with, has killed a lot of people, and has a lot of points. But Kashimo is turning out, I feel like, to be a one-trick pony. The rod trick was incredibly clever. Using the rod to store up charge, which by the way was set up clearly way ahead of time, because it is in the opposite area that they are fighting in. It's still the same technique though. Kashimo hasn't evolved at all in this fight, whereas Hakari has evolved in this fight. If they were really trying to beat Hakari within his immortality, then they would have pulled out a trick, a technique, something that would make Hakari die, lose, but they haven't. I'm just erring on the side that they have nothing else going for them besides this unblockable technique. It's like that one kid who always said, "Oh, I didn't study for this test, but I got an A," and then they get to university and fall apart, you know, because they don't know how to study. I feel like that's what we're witnessing with Kashimo right now. And Hakari is still not using his ranged attack. There was a chibi of Yume, the main female character, appearing in this panel with the word bubble die. That's really weird because we're not in Hakari's domain expansion. And the further stranger thing is that the Yume background chance bonus is described as a tantalizing image of Yume will appear. That seems to be what this is, but we're not in the domain expansion. So is there another hidden talent or function of the domain expansion, the jackpot that we're not privy to. After Yume appeared in that panel, Hakari was different. Hakari was faster, said by Kashimo themselves. And it was even pointed out by Kashimo that there must be some sort of condition for this. Something is leading me to believe, tugging me in that direction, that this Yume chibi appearing in front of Hakari had something to do with it. I may be overthinking it. I want to say sometimes I overthink things, but I always overthink things. And it's my favorite part. This is where I would wink if I knew how to do it, but I don't. I think I just blinked there. Whatever. Anyway, I am removing myself from all of the emotions regarding this fight, because if you have seen my previous other videos, you know that I would describe this fight as anxiety inducing. I have been so worried about Hakari from the time this fight with Kashimo started. And I know this is weird to say because Hakari at the end of this chapter literally has a massive hole in him, Toji style. There's just something about this fight that screams Kashimo will lose. Historically, big fights in Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji versus Mahito, Megumi versus that curse under the bridge, and Mai and Maki versus their shitty father. These all have really, really high stakes that is either a personal vendetta, problem, or something that matters to the character. In all of those cases, there was a large evolution in those characters, and we've already seen Hakari go through an evolution in which he just heals up. He has used reverse curse technique and he literally restored a limb. There has been a physical evolution for Hakari. I have a feeling that there will be something further. This is why. Like the true gambler that Hakari is, he always wants more and more and more. He saw this opportunity to take his gambling fight club ring into mainstream with the backing of two families. I guess I'm assuming he's like Gojo's gonna be like, yeah, sure. It seemed like he was in it for the Zenin clan backing, but I think there's a certain underlying softness to the bravado that Hakari carries. He fought Charles because Charles asked him to give him purpose. He told Kirara to stay behind, presumably, one, because he said that they needed somebody on the outside, but also I think because he didn't want to put Kirara in the line of fire. He went to Panda to immediately rescue him. Look, don't get me wrong. Hakari is incredibly opportunistic. He knows where his chances lie. Like he says, he uses skill to get a hold of luck. However, I have to ask the overarching question. Why does he care to change the world that he lives in? To bring this fever out from just within his confines out into the world. He cares about it a lot. He says it himself. When you ask a sorcerer for their help, you know that you are asking that sorcerer, that person, to put their life on the line. Hakari's life is the most valuable thing to him. So why is he willing to gamble it away? One, probably because, you know, Hakari's a crazy gambler and loves the fever. However, there's also this underlying tone of Hakari wanting to change the world so that him, Kirara, and probably the other people that are like him who are rejected by Jujutsu High no longer has to live in the shadows of it, and motivates him on a level more than being able to just fight somebody strong like Kashimo's goals. Listen, Yuta said it best himself. How can you be so desperate for your own sake? Hakari's goal, don't get me wrong, is still for himself. However, there is an overarching goal of being able to be free, while Kashimo's goal is just to simply fight the next strongest, or rather the strongest person to have ever lived. I think we could all agree when we say that Hakari was kind of getting the shit beat out of him. He has a sense of recklessness about him when his immortality is up, because, oh, I don't know, for one of the attacks that Kashimo did to him, you could literally see the muscles of his face, and his nose was torn off and his skin was torn off. It was gross, but he just healed himself. When he saw Kashimo's lightning coming for his head, he simply thought, I'll just heal it. Yeah, that's fine. But in contrast, Kashimo, who boldly promised in the last chapter that they would kill Hakari before the immortality ended, did nothing of the sort. Like I said before, their plan to headshot Hakari went nowhere because Hakari simply just healed himself. And Kashimo wasn't able to generate the amount of cursed energy that Hakari would be rendered unable to recover from. But when it actually mattered, aka when Hakari wasn't immortal, they couldn't close the deal. They couldn't headshot Hakari because Kashimo wasn't able to land the blow after Hakari sped up. Even after Hakari continuously let Kashimo beat the shit out of him. So this is the detail that really convinced me that Hakari was going to win. Let's examine the past 3 chapters. In chapter 186, Hakari was hit in the face 4, maybe 5 times. One of them's a little iffy, but here, look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in chapter 187, he was hit 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's split chapter 188 into 2 parts. Basically 4 minutes and 3 seconds and the last 8 seconds. In the first 4 minutes and 3 seconds, Hakari was hit in the face 3 times, including the lightning strike and that horrific injury that I never want to see again. In part 2, he was hit 0 times. Do you see why I think Hakari is playing with his food? Because when he wants to, he can take the reins and control the fight in his favor. He has gotten hit so many times in this fight, but they were hits that he let happen. Every time that Kashimo tried to hit Hakari's face, they were met with a counterattack or a block. And I will say it here and now, even if Kashimo wanted to attack Hakari and headshot him, they would not have been able to. Here's the thing, however. Kashimo, clearly not out of option. Reverse curse technique starts at the head, but cursed energy is stored in the stomach. If Kashimo's attack had been a few more inches over, they might have killed Hakari because Hakari would not have had the cursed energy required to summon his domain expansion. The immortality ended, which means he is still a full tank of gas of cursed energy as he stands there with half of his body missing. Not really half of his body, just like half of his abdomen. Not important. If the comment I got on my last video was right, where it was pointed out to me that Hakari seems refreshed after every single roll that he had, it could mean that simply getting into his domain expansion will allow him to renew himself, to heal himself. But even so, it's not going to be hard for Hakari to hit a jackpot because we still have the option to go into Kakuhen, or even if we don't make it into Kakuhen, we are still not in normal mode. We are in Jitan. Hakari still has a leg up within his domain expansion. But this is just a theory based on what I saw this chapter. It genuinely seems as if Akutami-sensei has laid out these very small details for us to question whether Hakari is capable of winning or not, but also instilled those very small details to show where Hakari's strength actually was compared to Kashimo's. Now it's a lot more apparent to me. Oh my god, I hope I'm right. I don't want Hakari to die. I spoke really confidently in this video, but yeah, I'm still crossing my fingers and my arms. I don't want Hakari to die. Anyway, let me know what you thought of this chapter. All of my links are down in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I've actually started streaming a little bit more, so if you want to come hang out there, streams will happen every now and again. I can't promise you a schedule because this is what's taking up most of my time. Thank you everybody for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe for more content. If you want more Jujutsu Kaisen content, this is a video that YouTube recommends, and I'll put a video here. I actually haven't thought about this outro very much. But thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.